on this edition of BSN with Bubba. We're bringing it from Five Flag Speedway here on a cold sunshine day, at least. So one of my favorite racetracks, and today we got extraordinaire, modified, legendary, one day in the history books, Ryan Preece here, and Brandon Ernest come along for the ride today. It's been a big help to both of our careers. I feel like coming up through the ranks, modified and the late models for me. So Brandon's had a big part in both of our careers so far. So gonna have him on and have a little fun. So Ryan, what do you think? It's good to be here and cold day at Five Flags.
Man, I'm in your neck of the woods, and I thought it was going to be warm. It is way too cold.
Yeah.
And I'm from Connecticut, so this is like...
different type of cold, right?
This is freezing, man.
Yes.
I didn't wear a heavy enough hoodie.
Didn't come prepared, right?
I did not.
Yeah, so we're here this weekend. We figured we'd get some content in, have a little fun, tell us a little bit about what you got going on. You know, in the modifieds, what you plan the next couple of years or next year. But first, let's talk about the Derby here. I know this is a race that you've ran a couple of times. You had a good run 2 years ago, but it's a place I feel like you enjoyed coming to.
I just like the atmosphere, man.
Yeah.
There's something about like where I'm from and how I love racing. This type of event and really being here 2 years ago, I had come here in 2008 and really didn't understand how big of a super late model event is just because I'm from Connecticut.
Yeah.
Like, we are modifieds mainly, that is it. And so coming here 2 years ago and really taking it all in, and really I tell everybody that hasn't been here, this is Speed Weeks for one race. Yeah. It is massive. So
but it is an event. It's not only a race, but like the excitement leading up to it, the fans and everything that goes on this week. It's just like, back home, do y'all have anything in the modified ranks like the Thompson or Stafford that is equivalent to this?
Yeah, we have our own. The World Series is really big. The Icebreaker, we probably have about the Sizzler and the Fall Final and a few others, but this is when you kind of look at the super late model world and nationally, right? You got guys coming from California, you got guys on both sides of the coast, right? Canada. The modifieds, I feel like modifieds have a bad rap for some reason outside of the Northeast, but up there in our little area, they're really badass race cars. So
yeah, I mean, it's crazy as I've raced up in your area at Oxford. I know it's Vermont, the Milk Bowl and stuff like that. And then I come race here. The fans, the excitement, it's there in up that area. And then you come down here, and it just feels like it's different. Wouldn't you say, Brandon? Like the fans, the atmosphere is a little bit different than what it brings. The excitement on a weekly basis, but it's always it shows up here for the Derby, though.
Yeah, the fans in the Northeast are, well, the people in the Northeast, like they're very hardworking,
dedicated,
you know, grinding kind of people, right? Like I remember going to whenever we did the TQ races, and Teddy barrel rolls down the thing, and like the entire, like, you thought the roof was gonna blow off. Everybody was cheering and stuff, you know. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. I've never seen anything like that before. But I think it's just, you know, it's pretty intense up there. The modified deal, I think, is just a little bit regional because of the car style versus the, you know, the supers being more nationwide versus, you know, a kind of a corner of the country. But
and we're a little different
fans
up there.
Go, it's intense.
Y'all might be a little different.
We're a little different. And I've noticed that since I've moved. We're really high strung.
I think the Southern people are different.
Yeah, you're right. There you go. We're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be awesome to see a tour type modified roll around this place.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you think how you think
30 or 40 grand to win? Definitely.
Heck yeah,
absolutely. But
I think it'd be cool.
It would be, man. This place,
it'd be hard to get cars though.
You think
if
so?
it was for 40 grand to win, I don't think it would be.
I mean, you look like, man, if you could do something like leading up before Speed Week, because all of them's at Speed Week. Maybe you could put on a race like before coming down. And the weather's still cold, but maybe a March.
Yeah, but it
race.
would have to, in my opinion, it would have to be tied in with super late models.
Yeah.
And because it would have to be two big series, right? But for our tires, like when I touch a super late model tire, they feel hard compared to what we're used to with the modifieds, right? They're super soft. And with how aggressive of a racetrack this is, this would kind of create that race management like North Wilkesboro does for us, where we give up 2 seconds to the start of the race. That way we're running that same pace 50 laps into a run. So
I think it would be awesome. I might see if we
too.
can pull some strings here and do that. I think.
Does anybody have $40,000 they would like to contribute to the purse?
Well, we might can find some good sponsors. You know, thanks to Pepperjack Kennels this weekend for allowing us to come to their VIP suite here and shoot. It's made it possible for us to have some fun.
So, Ryan, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Ryan, are you familiar with the package that Pepperjack Kennels put together for the Derby here?
No.
Yes.
So, you correct me if I'm wrong, but it's tire bill, test day. Like, they put a whole package together, and basically the highest average finisher of the doubleheader weekend won this package. So they essentially sponsored somebody a Derby trip almost.
Yeah. Oh, no way.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
They've done a lot for short track racing.
They really have.
Derek Thorne. So they've really stepped up here in the Pensacola area and all across. Really, I think they're a Wisconsin-based company that's just took a liking into short track racing, super late model racing, and helped Derek Thorne. So they also. BS and Bubba give away a trip to the Snowball Derby this weekend, and they pitched in along with Phoenix Water Solutions, stepped on board and put a whole package together. So as we're getting this deal going, we've gotten the sponsors, they've stepped up, and what Pepperjack and Phoenix Water Solutions have done for us, it's been cool. Both support short track racing, so it's pretty neat for them to sponsor Derek Thorne and then give a package away like that, the best average finish, like Brandon said, combining the 2 races, put a whole deal together. So it's pretty neat.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a creative way of doing it, right? I don't think I've ever heard anybody doing that.
Yeah.
So that is that made me start that gerbil up here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Come down for the blizzard races. So
I don't know how they actually got hooked up with Thorne, but Thorne's very professional. Obviously, he's a great driver. Like the team performed, right? But he's very professional, so he would be a really good guy for sponsors to come in.
Did you see that picture of him getting over there in the turn?
There's no way he knocks left front.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
Because there's 3 foot of wall still left when he's on it. So we need to walk by there and see if he's put the fender on it Wednesday.
So there's also this, I don't know, probably can't see in the camera, but the Tool Shack. That's a local company here in Pensacola, right?
Yep.
They kind of got in with Thorne on the Pepperjack deal too, right?
Yep, and I think Deep South Cranes has done a lot for the Pensacola area here as well.
So if you're in Pensacola and you need to rent tools, go to the Tool Shack.
There you go. So, just tell us a little bit about what you got going on this weekend, since we're here at Five Flags with the Derby, and kind of how your deal come together, and what you got going on and who you got coming down, and a lot of your modified guys or a lot of the Cup guys, and
so the first thing I'm going to do is go to Dick's Sporting Goods and probably get a heavy sweatshirt because it's too freaking cold. But anybody that if this does get released before the Snowball Derby, you can go in the grandstands and get a Ryan Preece sweatshirt. We'll have those for sale.
And some Bubba Pollard apparel. And also we'll have some Ernest Performance apparel this weekend as well too.
You can go to ryanpreece.com, buy some cool stuff on there.
They even have modified T-shirts.
Yeah, we even have modified. Actually, I don't think we do.
No. Get it together.
I do have late model stuff before we got modified stuff.
It's pretty bad. So I do have this really cool shirt though, and it's on the back of it from the Talladega deal. I have me and a cougar on a shirt, and it says "Chasing Cougars."
That's awesome.
So I think that one will sell pretty well.
Good.
But so Kevin Harvick, he's building a late model program. Obviously, his son is getting really good, and he's getting him to that. He's trying to build this program. I feel like so when he's at that age, he can get in there and keep working on him. We don't have to. You don't have to try and figure out the equipment and do both at the same time. So he talked to me, I would say earlier this year, about getting some super late models and trying to build a program. And I said, well, let's go to the Derby.
Yeah.
The biggest super late model race in the history of super late model racing,
Why
right?
not?
Why not? I've already done it once before with a brand new car. Everybody looked at me like I was crazy, but that's the thing I love about it. I love being a part of the process. I love the grind. It's what I live for. So that, between that, Morton Buildings, racechoice.com, which, anybody who's in the short track world or just wants to buy brake pads for your car, you can go on their website and get what you need. But it's certainly coming down here and being in this atmosphere, being around you, being around all these late model people. It's different, and I enjoy it because for years, you spoke earlier about Brandon being a huge part of your career. He's been a huge part of my career.
Yep.
So years, when he was coming up to the modifieds, we'd always talk about super late model racing, and I was like, yeah, man, them things got fenders, ain't that cool?
That's right.
But they are.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate the different racecrafts that every single type of racing has. So
you're right about that.
It is.
Yeah.
It takes a different style. Even yesterday, during our test, I was trying different things to see what made speed versus what didn't. Yeah. And then when qualifying comes, I know what I'm going to do. And then come race time, the bullets are in the chamber. So
exactly.
We're ready.
And going back to Kevin's deal and growing his son, I think looking back at like Chase and Bill, I respect what they done with Chase because going back, like I got a lot of respect for you because, and I know we're rambling around, but the way you worked hard for where you're at now, you didn't have anything given to him. You got out there, you grind. You did the work. You put in the work, what it takes. You've won races. You've done the whole package to make it to the next level, and I respect that. And I go to look back at Chase, and what Bill done with Chase. You gotta respect. He won races. He paid his dues. I respect it. It doesn't matter what Bubba Pollard thinks at the end of the day. I have a hard time, and I know you've said in some of your interviews, people will give you hell about the money part of things and how kind of get handed to them sometimes. Well, it does frustrate guys like me because it has been easy for people to just sign your kid up and go race. When I feel like you've worked hard, I've worked hard. There's a lot of other people out there that's worked hard too that's never got the opportunity. So when you see someone like Chase that could have Bill and Kevin, they could just go write a check and he can go drive at the next level. But when they earn the respect and get brought up through the ranks, win races, they pay their dues. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it shows 2 years ago when I built that car, I came down with my friends, my group, the whole thing. That's because of how I was raised to do things. Yeah. And there's nothing against, the ones that have their driver development programs. It's obviously big for super late model racing, right? The car counts for this deal have been really good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you and I can speak on this all the time of how we'd like to go about it with our careers. And there's a certain type of racer that I want to be, and Brandon knows that. So that's the way I choose to live it.
And he does, and is smart on their part by, developing the team with you before Keelan gets ready. You know what I mean? So he goes through that, like we spoke the other day, going through that learning process of, it just speeds that process up of him having the confidence when he gets in the car and he can work on his driving and as different things being taught from you and Kevin just speeds that process up for him to get to the next level. And I have a lot of respect for that. It's teaching them the right way.
Oh yeah,
I feel like and I don't know what you think about it. I know you. What do you think? He's over there quiet. He's gonna be.
He is super quiet.
Yeah,
we need to get him a
beer.
Beer or something.
It's too early for that. Too cold.
It's never too early.
No, I think
that
what they're doing is I think that the intentions are good for sure, with the late model stocks and the super late models. And what I do, I think it's a double-edged sword. I think that a guy like Kevin can come in and this is America, right? Like, you're free to do whatever the hell you want. That's the way it needs to be. But like a guy like Kevin can come in and spend a lot of money in the industry.
Which it helps.
It does.
It helps.
And then just one day they're gone.
Yeah.
Because their kid's gone, right?
Yeah.
And that can hurt.
That's right.
So I think, but I do think, I don't know this, but I think their plan is to actually like build a program that they're going to run for the long term. Like, he wants to be, I think he cares about the sport, and I think he's going to do things the right way to the best of his ability.
Well, I think you're right, and I think he's invested in the Cars Tour.
He is.
And
they've done a great job with it.
They have.
So the thing that I really like about KHI and Kevin and Delana, what they've done is, so leading up to this Derby week, Josh Berry, every time I go there, he's there.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I've been there. Lane Riggs popped in one day, you know, a couple times. This new, there's a younger kid they actually just landed.
Yeah,
Yep.
is it Landon Lewis?
Super good kid. He's there.
This morning, I don't know when this is going to be released, but this morning
They just announced
the deal. Yeah.
So, but what I'm getting at is Kevin is teaching. We're around there, but he's helping create like how he'd want somebody to work their way up, right? And doing it right, being at the shop, working on the cars, doing all those things of what at least my definition of what a racer is.
That's right.
Anybody can be a steering wheel holder. Anybody can show up and race a race car, go fast in a fast race car. It's the learning the ins and outs of that, and
that's going to separate yourself from.
It's going to separate you as a racer, as a person.
That's right.
Around your team.
Yep.
Like it takes all that. So he's helping build character.
Yeah,
I
agree.
I think whenever you're when you're working on the car, you know, it's obviously not required, right? Like when you're working on the car, I think you just establish in your own head a better understanding of what's going on, right?
Yeah.
You know, like you always see people on, you know, Facebook or whatever, and they're like, oh, you know, this system is rigged and this and that, and it's like, dude, you won 3 races at your local track. Like, shut up. Like, if you think your kid's better than William Byron, you're crazy, right? Like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
But the guys that are working on the cars, like yourself.
Well, I think it separates yourself from.
It's a better understanding, I think.
It does, and especially like when you go different places, like when you travel all across the country. I've worked on the race car, and like you can adapt faster to other racetracks. You win at different racetracks all across the country. It just makes you. It helps your program. It helps adapt faster when you know your equipment and know what you're doing.
So for me, and this is my opinion, is let's say you step into a fast race car. You're young. You're inexperienced. Car's fast. You go out and win. Well, what happens when things change? Car's not fast.
When it goes bad.
You're trying to translate. You're trying to figure out things. You guys can't get on the same page. The speed's not there. You're not getting it. Well, somebody who's gone through those steps, and it takes time. Like you don't just learn it like that.
That's right.
You know, knowledge is key.
Yeah.
And when you have that experience, you have the right people around you.
Surround yourself by right people.
Right people, and that's how you get there. And that's what racing's about.
That's right.
Man, I'll tell you what. I don't know about you, but I remember. So I used to be that racer that. Like, my dad always made me work, but I never had to really work on the car.
Yeah.
I was just always there.
Yeah.
And I remember my first race when I went, did everything. Father didn't come, no family, just 4 or 5 of us went to the track. And it wasn't the biggest race in the world, but it was one of the biggest races to me. You know, it meant a lot. So
it makes you feel good.
It makes you feel real good.
It makes you feel good when, I'm in the same boat. I got everything I need to compete. But... And if I need it, we'll go get it. I'm very fortunate, very lucky to do it. But at the same time, when you look and you outrun those guys, it makes you feel good. I mean, it makes you feel good that you've worked on your own car. And like I've had a lot of, like Brandon, for instance, I've had a lot of great help along the way. But it does make you feel good when you outrun those guys. And you know, I don't know. It's
I think the mentality of the driver is a big deal, as far as like whether you're physically working on the car or not is not necessarily as important as whether you're dedicated and focused on improving, right? Like I remember years ago Ryan and I talking about it, and he's like, I don't know how to save my tires, right? And he's like, you know what I mean? Like,
boy,
you gotta
I
learn
sucked.
that. But
I can kill a right rear pretty quick.
But the difference is instead of you getting out and yelling at somebody saying the car sucked, you understood where you needed to improve, and you hyper focused on that, right? And got yourself better where you want to be, you know, and obviously the results were there.
Yeah. I could lap a field pretty quick, but I could throw the anchor out even quicker.
We've done that more times than we've won, right?
Yeah. That was a long time ago, though.
Yeah.
So what's your plans? You going to run the Super Late Mall a couple times this year? Or next year, sorry. Just kind of when your schedule allows it, I guess. Just kind of...
Yeah, I think what's cool about the Supers, there is some big midweek races.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% confident in what the schedule is.
Have you been to Berlin?
I haven't, but I plan on it, maybe.
Well, let me tell you something. Berlin would be phenomenal.
Is it a quarter mile?
Ryan Preece needs to go to Slinger Nationals.
Yeah,
quarter mile.
That fits in
Bro.
perfect.
Yeah.
Bro.
Up on the
Slinger
wheels.
Nationals.
I'm a big quarter mile guy.
100%. Slinger Nationals is right up your alley.
I
Yeah.
forgot about Slinger.
Yeah, you need to go to
races,
Slinger
yeah.
Nationals.
That'd be one of your races.
Yes.
You know, when I had my car, I was planning on going there, but then when there was this whole talk, I had to raise the fuel cell and put a 2-barrel
Yeah.
on it. I
Yeah,
said,
yeah, yeah.
I ain't doing that.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I think you're still gonna have to do it. When
You're
you go
still
to
going to
Slinger.
have to do
Really?
that.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, it's worth it.
It's worth it to
It's an
experience it
awesome
one time.
racetrack. It's
Now,
right
I will
up your
tell you
alley.
this: what's one of the hottest? What's probably one of the hottest racetracks in the Cup? Is it Darlington, maybe?
Indianapolis.
They're all hot, bud.
Well, I'm telling you what, Slinger National is probably one of the. It's mid-July, and it's a quarter-mile high bank, no airflow. It's one of the hottest places you've ever been in your life.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Ever since racing this Cup car, my body temperature has changed, and like, I tell this joke all the time of when I came here 2 years ago. I know it's December, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that hot.
Yeah.
But some people have the fans,
Yeah.
they have the water bottles.
Yeah.
I remember after 300 laps, I got out of the car, and I'm fine,
Yeah.
right? Because you're used to 130, 140 degrees.
Yeah.
I look around and I see kids ready to pass
Oh,
out.
wow,
It's
Yeah.
like-
And that's
All the time.
going back, change subject a little bit. You touch on that subject, but like when I grew up, my dad said, "Listen, you don't get air conditioning. If you get air conditioning, it's the day we quit."
That's
Like,
exactly right. I heard him say it more than
Yeah,
once.
he says it to this day.
Yep.
Yep.
And then the other day,
Toughen up, son.
I'm installing an air conditioner for an 18-year-old kid, and I'm like, if my dad got a hold of you,
Yeah.
it's like he would tear you
Yeah.
a new one.
We joked. So when Kevin was building this car, he was like, "Hey, you want an AC unit or a blower fan?" I said, "Heck no, that's weight, bud.
It's
We don't
weight.
need that."
That's
It's
right.
weight, and then you got the voltage. You got to pull that thing.
Yep.
You know, the weight is everything. You know, and then if that thing goes out, you're falling out of the seat. Like, it's not good. It just mentally it helps you at all these races, I think. But
Yeah.
and
And if you're hot, suck it up. It'll teach you to
Exactly.
be tougher.
I mean, there's probably been a few races I fell out of that I've been hot, but I have not told my old man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to.
That's right.
He would never let me live it down.
You
No.
get out walking that trailer like you were
Yes,
good
like
and
it's-
could go another 100.
One of
I
the
think
hottest-
Slinger might have been one of them.
Slinger was
Yeah.
one of them. I got out at the break. I wasn't getting out to work on the car when the year we won the Slinger Nationals. Changed the gear because we changed a bunch of stuff. I was getting out because I was exhausted, like I was
Yeah.
done, but I wasn't going to tell him that. Got back in, finished it. Another race that was brutal was the SRX race down here. I think it was a mid-July kind of deal. That's probably one of the hottest times
Yeah.
I've been in my career. I've raced, but you gonna get to run any modified races next year? I know, man. You wore their asses out
was
at
fun.
Martinsville.
That was fun.
So what was that? Was that a new car?
No,
Whole deal?
that was so the special so I used to drive for this guy Eddie Partridge, and when he passed away 5 minutes after Richmond, we had just won Richmond. We're going through tech, he's leaving. All of a sudden we get a call 10 minutes, we're loading up. One of his good friends and our good friends on our team called me and said, "Hey, you need to get to the hospital," and he died. So that we purchased that car from his wife Connie, and so that was that car with some adjustments that we made, and that was the first time we ever ran it since we made those adjustments. And she was pretty sporty, so I was pretty pumped about it. But yeah, so next year I know I'm like a last minute person when it comes to scheduling things,
That's
but
the way I feel.
New Smyrna Speed Weeks is always top of my list, man. I love it.
Probably
so I think
some
we're gonna do
supers
some
with
nights.
that, maybe.
I'm gonna run a couple nights in
Yeah.
a super.
That'd be a good week. That's always a fun week, really.
Man, growing up, I always loved watching them
Yeah.
because down the backstretch, they just look badass.
They are
right?
badass, yeah.
They look like they're rolling.
Them bitches are loud though.
Huh?
Oh, I love it.
How old are you?
No,
You're complaining about it
I'm-
being too loud.
I'm deaf.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, but
Is that why we got mufflers now? Bubba was telling them all,
complained
we
too
need
much.
mufflers.
As
So
I
gotta have mufflers.
As I've gotten older, I've gotten weaker. You'll get there. How old are you?
33.
Oh shit.
Modifieds are probably my favorite car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just looked cool. I mean, it's
See, and there's
whole
all
package.
around the country, there's different types of modifieds,
There,
right?
yeah.
So when you tell people, yeah, hey, I race a modified, they're like
yeah.
8-inch ones,
Yeah.
and they're cool, but nothing's as cool as a 15-inch wide tire
Yeah,
that just looks
that's
like it's
right.
ready to eat the asphalt. So
It's just a different world, man. They're so cool.
What do you
They're
had?
so
So
cool.
if you had the
people are
you
cool.
still a super late model guy or a modified guy? What do you think? What's your all the late model stocks? we're not even gonna go there. Have you driven late model stock yet?
I have.
Yeah. Whose did you drive? Whose car did you drive?
It was.
You can be on your phone. We don't care. It's all now.
Was it Tommy Lemons?
Yeah, it was Tommy Lemons.
I think it was Tommy Lemons'
Is he
car,
still
right?
racing?
No,
He doesn't. No.
Okay.
He done?
No, he messed up his shoulder, and I don't think he's raced anymore. He had to have shoulder surgery, and I don't think he's raced since then.
Yeah, I ran a late model stock. So here's the
South
thing about
Boston,
this.
Denny Hamlin race,
It was
right?
the Denny Hamlin race,
yeah.
and we. So Gabe Hart's the first one that told people this, and this is pretty much the truth. Like, practice for me, it's not always going to look the greatest, man. I am just constantly just trying different things, right? But come qualifying and race, the same deal. We were like 30th, I think, there in practice. We're not good. Kept working on the car, kept working on me. Come qualifying, qualified really well. And then in the race, we were running, I don't know, probably top 5. But the disappointing thing about the late model stocks, what they were then, was they were 2 barrels.
Yeah.
And they had what I felt like no horsepower.
Yeah.
And it completely threw me off because I was thinking going into it that these things are going to have a good amount of power.
Yeah.
You know, can't light it up.
Nothing.
And then it reminded me of what up north we have 3 divisions of modifieds. We have tour types, which is the most horsepower. We have our SKs, which is basically comparable to a pro late model. And
they run like a Chevrolet crate motor, right? Or no, they run like a 2.
No, the SK light motors are 602s, I believe, the little crate motor. So yeah, that to me is what reminded me of what the late model stock was. Yeah, because it's all momentum. So at least what I thought back then, it was, man, you got to roll the center and everything, but it was so crucial in them.
And I think the racing in that deal is tough because it is the momentum. It's no horsepower. It's almost like plate racing a little bit, in a way. But if you had to, what would you go with?
So if I say this with all due respect to Matt Hirschman, I think he's one of the best race car drivers on the planet.
Yeah.
If I won the lottery, I would buy a modified, and I would follow his ass everywhere he went, and I would try to beat him.
Yeah.
Well, that's why.
I would do.
Yeah.
That's why
I say that. I would say that out of respect for him, not dislike of him. Like he's the guy, right?
And so it's taken years, and we talk about saving tires. Matt and I have had some serious duels.
Yeah.
And I've beaten him. You know, if we have short runs, I'll beat him.
Yeah.
But when it comes to long run and having left rear and right rear left, he'll smoke me.
Yeah.
But I finally feel confident as a driver, as somebody who's got a setup that I want to go to New Smyrna because I think I can go head to head with him in a long race and I can beat him now.
Yeah.
Or at least make it a real solid duel and not let him just toy with me.
When they announced that tour race at North Wilkesboro, I'm like, this is a Matt Hirschman benefit right here.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, it's, you know what I mean? This is what it is, right? Like, when it comes to that kind of stuff, like he's the best.
Yep.
Yeah. So as far as like the chassis in those deals, you know, it's totally different than what we got going on in the super late model deal because it's no stops. It's the tour type deal. Can you run stops and coil bind and stuff?
So we don't have a ride height rule, which is nice.
Yeah. That
Coil
helps.
bind.
You can coil bind.
You can coil bind.
But
in my opinion, why coil bind if you have no ride height? What's the point? Because I mean, the ride height rule or the coil bind and stuff. In my opinion, it was just to get through ride height, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
do you find yourself when you drive a super versus a modified? Is it like on dirt versus asphalt? It's totally different spectrums. Do you find you catch yourself like, oh man, I can't do that because it's modified stuff, or is it kind of relate a little bit?
Some of it relates. The way the super late model, like the balance trends are different.
Yeah.
Modified, we have so much right front tire that we can't blow through it or make it like we can make it a little tight, but eventually that right rear is going to get burnt off.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get loose.
Yeah.
From what I see in air pressure builds and all those things, these cars, you're going to get tighter, but then you're going to lose your drive because you're tight. Yeah. So if you keep it turning, you're going to be good.
Correct. Yeah.
So that
you can be a little snug in that modified in the right rear.
You need to be.
Yeah.
So I can, if I put you in there and you wanted to feel like you're rolling the center, I guarantee you when that green flag drops at 8 o'clock at night, you're going to be hanging on saying, tighten me up.
I cry.
So speaking of putting him in there, can we get that worked out?
We need to figure something out. I already told you if you could fit my seat, so I ain't got to change the seat.
I'm slimming down. Son.
You are, man. You're getting there.
I don't know if I'll get down to y'all's deal, but I might Might squeeze a few more pounds getting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to change the seat. That seat deal is a disaster. In one of those
Quarter
things.
power of the seat.
Well, you
No room
have
to
like
strap it
the
back.
biggest seat that I've ever seen in my entire life.
I actually here the other day in testing, I had to take a ratchet strap and close it up.
Did you?
Yes.
My man.
I told Mark if he did that, I'd pick up about half a tenth.
Yeah.
I picked up a tenth. I told him to get
Did you change the shock?
That was
at
just
the
a
same
quick-
time?
I told him to give me
You
another
must have
ratchet.
changed the shock at the same time, huh?
I think Mark hit the stopwatch early just to make him feel good.
Yeah.
I think
that's probably right.
I told him he need to ratchet strap it a little tighter. Give me another tenth.
Uh,
So yeah, but it would be cool to do it again. I think I'm in a better place, to be able to do it now, to help you out more than we did last time. So
well, it
would
doesn't
be-
help when a motor blows up
Yeah.
about 15 laps in.
Yeah, so it would be good. We'll pick us up. I'm hoping that I don't have to race against you on this Sunday and maybe win this race after this deal will probably air after the Derby. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can win. I'm hoping if I could ever win this race, I ultimately race this throughout the year so I could. This is my ultimate goal.
Yeah.
So I race throughout the year to do this. So if I ever won this race, I would probably do a lot of different things, just to kind of just say you done it, bucket list stuff, have a little fun, do different races and stuff like that. So
Diversify.
Yeah.
Go do different things.
yeah.
Yeah. You know what I
Probably-
want to do? I want to run a midget at IRP.
Man, that I always want to run a Silver Crown car.
Yeah.
Like that was, and I had.
They're sick.
Man, there's
Yeah.
got to be somebody out there with a midget that needs a race car driver.
Actually, I lied. It should be a sprint car. I'm a little big for a midget. Center of gravity is too high in that thing.
I had a friend of ours that was selling. He actually was a couple of towns over from us, and he had one of those midgets for sale on the other day. I was like, man, I want to call him up and see if we go to Chili Bowl. And I was like, nah, I don't think that's a good idea.
Then you'd look under the hood and say,
Yeah.
"Where's the other half of this motor?"
Yeah, that's right. They do
But
look weird.
it would be cool to do some things like that. I don't know if I could ever get in a wing sprint car, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could, just because they're so. I don't know.
Tell you what, man. So I came.
I don't like a car that lays on the left rear. So I have a hard time. Every time I look at an in-car camera, they always lay on the left rear.
Yeah, hike in the right front.
Yeah, I don't know if I could
So
drive it like
before I started racing modifieds, I raced open wheel stuff, open wheel midgets, a little bit, Kenya midgets in Indiana. So that's always been like a passion of mine.
that. Yeah.
And the wildest thing that I've driven to date has to be a super modified.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things
The
are
motor
pretty
is
cool.
right here. The wings freaking, moving up and down. And it was at Thompson. So I believe that's like one of
Oh,
the
in the
fastest
middle.
tracks they go to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was awesome.
I think I've seen. We saw him up at Oxford. They're pretty bad. Derek was driving one. I think he's driven it a couple times now. Griffith. But yeah, so we're racing here. We got different stuff we want to race. We always talk about that. What are you gonna do? What does a shock builder do? What is out there for you?
Well, somebody calls, I tell them what I recommend, and I sell them what they want to buy.
No, but like, what are you
Simple as
gonna
that.
do? What are you gonna do besides shock building?
I don't know, man.
Fishing? You like fishing?
I like fishing. I'm just not good enough at it to be a guide. So,
yeah.
besides, if you did it for a living, then it wouldn't be fun anymore, right?
Yeah, it's true. That is fact.
Yeah. I have a buddy of mine that's a guide that I go fishing with, 2-3 times a year.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you talked about going out west and going.
yeah, I want to do that for sure. But like the first couple times you go fishing with him, it's like this is the greatest thing in the world, and then like by the 6th or 7th time, it's a job, So I don't know.
You got
I'm gonna
anything?
keep building
All you
shocks,
know
I
is
guess.
all you know is racing. You gotta do anything? You do anything besides racing? Like if you had to, if you wasn't racing, what would you do? I'd probably. That's I always said if I didn't. I got
cars. I feel like I'd street race.
street race.
Yeah.
You do something racing?
You still be involved.
Still
in
racing. Yeah, still cars.
I always like the. See, I grew up around cows all my life. So we're not cattlemen. My dad does it a hobby. Like he knows a lot about it, and he breeds some good cows and does well at it, and he enjoys it. I always like, kind of the farm deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I always like not really growing crops because I don't like all the GPS ride on tractors and stuff. But I'd probably do some horseback stuff like real cattleman shit, wear the hat.
You have?
chaps
Do you have
and everything.
horses?
No.
Okay.
I hate horses.
You have
really.
horses, right, Ryan?
I have.
You guys
I was
doesn't have
not. I was
Didn't your
fixing.
wife,
Yeah, yeah.
Or does
I
your
was-
wife love animals? And stuff?
We do. Yeah.
We try to give you some donkeys and mules, but you
Yep.
wouldn't take them.
No, I have a donkey. His name's Lucky. Yep. He's not so lucky though. I've had a lot of bad luck since I got him.
Yeah.
Nice.
But what I will say about the horse deal is, man, I was gonna ask you, do you like shoveling shit or?
Hell no.
That's got to be the top. My wife loves it. That's like her therapy. She loves going out there and cleaning the barn. That's going out and doing that is like me getting under the freaking a modified after a race and cleaning it. I hate it.
Yeah,
I've pumped shit, but I don't do no shoveling.
Yeah,
you know, but
I
always like the cow stuff.
Lee Pulliam and I have been talking for several years now about going together and buying a ranch in Wyoming or something, and I haven't ever committed to it. But
buying a ranch in Wyoming,
it's cold as hell out there too.
It is.
We have to move back here.
I told
hire
him all
somebody
I lack
to take
is
care
the
of the
money.
cattle.
Huh?
All I lack is the money.
Yeah,
shit.
That's all I need.
The bill I get from you every week. Shit,
that's the only thing holding me up.
Yeah, we got to get in the shock business, huh?
I know that's right.
Well, everybody else is. You might as well.
That wreck in Nashville cost me a little bit. It probably cost.
That costs a lot of people.
Yeah, my sister.
Ooh.
We finally got the bills of all that stuff, and she's like, "I'm gonna send them the bill." It's like, yeah, you go ahead. Let me know how it turns out.
Was that the one where there was oil on the track?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was about $500,000
worth of shit tore up.
Oh yeah, that was stout.
That was a
that. And speaking of Facebook, when you go on and read some of this stuff about all these fans and they talk like this stuff's $1.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of money that's going to be on that track.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be over $3.5 million worth of race cars on that racetrack.
I saw a post somebody put on there earlier. One of the race teams shut down and Earl Pearson Jr.'s out of a ride again.
Yeah.
Somebody commented on there and said, "Well, with the truck and trailer and 2 cars race ready being close to $1 million." I'm like, "Oh, it's double that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the truck is close to $1 million.
The truck by itself is $1 million.
Yeah. Motor's $75,000.
Yeah.
$50,000 for a cheap one.
Yeah.
It's definitely expensive. It's an expensive deal. But I joked with somebody. I think I was talking to you the other day. Imagine if somebody hitted you and you went out, you bought a brand new Audi R8, $180,000 car, and somebody just goes up and hits you.
Yeah.
Would you be pissed off?
Yeah, I would.
I would be really mad. That's the equivalent of that race car out there.
And they wonder, you look on there and, I mean, I don't the fighting and deal and get mad. Like, I'm passionate about it. Like, if that's what it takes, it just happens sometimes. It's short term. But when people tear up your shit, you get mad.
Yeah.
I mean, you get mad.
It's the money. It's the time. It's everything.
Whenever whenever there's not
penalized.
Yeah, but here's my opinion on this: is you could sit here and penalize somebody all day long. Does that mean they're going to learn their lesson?
Yeah, but if they had to, that's where it goes back to. If they had to fix your own shit, they get tired of fixing it.
Yeah, but and that's not today's world.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and it's my opinion, is the lessons need to be taught within the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Like not on the racetrack. I'm talking about when you get off or whatever. I mean, that's how I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when Mike Stefanik come up to me and said, "You didn't have to do that," and he was right.
Right.
I was 18 at the time, or whatever it was.
Right.
That's right. And I, going back to the Harvick thing too, like I listened to him on a different podcast talking about, being with Keelan when he raced and teaching these kids like how to behave and behave's probably not the correct word, but how to handle the situations and stuff as they're growing up. And I think that's pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably don't handle it all the right way sometimes.
Yeah, that's what we all love.
Yeah,
now.
you can say that.
Eddie used to tell me, because you're a track owner now.
Yeah.
And Eddie owned Riverhead Raceway.
Yeah.
And he used to, he saw it in a different perspective.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing he always joked about with me was, if these guys are going to fight, they better fight on the front stretch.
Yeah.
Don't fight in the pit area.
Least.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, least where you can see it. They sell tickets.
Yeah, that's right.
It gives you a different point of view when you own a racetrack for sure.
Oh, I bet it does.
If you're all about dollar signs, then
stuff that you and I've talked about dealing with the county and things like that.
Yes.
That I've heard. It's pretty wild. But one thing that Eddie told me that I thought was very interesting, and I never would have thought about this, is he said that you only want the grandstands to be 75% full. He said because the last 25 is the riffraff that causes all the problems.
Yeah, that's true. You learn how to manage and handle people differently when you own a racetrack.
Yeah.
I've learned I'm still trying to process all that because I still catch myself now not handling it the right way. I'm trying to do better, but my temper comes out in me because I'm like, dude, you're stupid.
Right.
Like, you want to tell the city that you're dumb. Like, come on. But I'm like, they're customers at the end of the day. So, you have to handle things different. And I've learned to, hey, go talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Because I can't handle it. That's what I told Tim earlier. I was like, I'm going to help you pick up trash and stuff, but the other part of it I don't want to handle because I can't.
Right.
I'm just not. I can't handle people. Being on people. And
Yeah, dealing with people's tough.
yeah, it is.
Thanks for checking out part 1 of BSing with Bubba and Ryan Preece. We will have part 2 coming up real soon. Make sure to check out our podcasts on YouTube for the latest content on BSing with Bubba. We will be releasing all podcasts on all major podcast platforms 1 month to 2 months after we release them on YouTube. So if you want the latest and greatest content, make sure to go subscribe, comment, and like on YouTube. In 2024 and in the future, there'll be a lot more Bubba Pollard content on Sport Action Films on YouTube. So make sure you go like, subscribe to that channel as well. And don't miss part 2 with Ryan Preece on BSing with Bubba. And then Ryan goes deep into detail about his horrifying Daytona crash last year in the Cup Series. And you will also get a surprise when the 2023 Snowball Derby champion crashes the set and joins the party with Bubba, Brandon, and Ryan on set. Thanks for tuning in to BSing with Bubba, and make sure you comment, like, and subscribe.